real as far as Joe Frazier was concerned. He feels that through the years, Ali has given him needless verbal abuse. And a prideful man Joe Frazier is, he never did take to it kindly. You're looking back in Ali, and as we await the introduction of the fighters, quickly let me cover the rules for you. We will, of course, have the mandatory 8 count. 3 knockdowns within a round, the fight is over. This is not a championship fight, it's a scheduled 12-rounder. They have not waived the 3 knockdown rule. There will be no saving by the bell. Scoring will be on a per-round system with a supplemental point system in the event of a tie based upon the round scoring. The referee will be a relatively young man, Tony Perez. He is, I think, an outstanding referee. In his first very big fight, Ellis Frazier, which this reporter worked, Perez showed an absolute ability to command the fight. So looking at young Tony now. Always maintaining what a referee must maintain above all else. Perfect position to see that no undue harm is done, that no low blows go unheeded, and all of the rest. Perez has the youth, the swiftness, the know-how, and the strength to execute his job. The judges, 2 veteran judges, Tony Castellano and Jack Gordon. Now the ring announcer, Joe Boston.
Take a seat. This is the headline event on this evening's boxing program from Madison Square Garden in New York. The distance is 12 rounds. The principals in this headline event for the evening coming from Philadelphia at 209 pounds even. He's wearing white trunks, former world's heavyweight champion, Smoken Joe Frazier.
The introduction of Joe, who now gets a chorus of cheers with an admixture of vocal disapproval.
And Louisville, Kentucky, at 212 pounds. He's wearing white trunks also. Wearing white trunks, former world's heavyweight champion also, Mr. Muhammad Ali.
We'll be back for the start of the fight in a moment. Bell for round 1, the action begins. Frazier's task to stay all over Ali. Don't give Ali jabbing room. Ali's task to stay away. Use his most effective blow, the left jab. If there's any punch in Ali left, it would be in the left hook. The right hand, as you all know, is suspect. It's been damaged again and again and again, and there is an apparent bursitis between the knuckles. At the same time, as Frazier follows Ali, he must be careful not to do what he did in the first fight. Move the right foot ahead of the left. He must angle his approach as he's doing now, lagging the right leg to give Ali only a slanting shot at the Frazier face. Watch these things closely as the fight develops.
What's going on, family? I'm Scrapbookboxing, Museum of the Forgotten Fisticuffs series. I want to continue to examine 100 years of World Championship fights. We're looking at Monday, January 28, 1974. Smoken Joe Frazier loses to Muhammad Ali in 12 rounds in New York's Madison Square Garden. It was for the NABF World Heavyweight Championship belt. The referee was Tony Perez. Now, Muhammad Ali was 31 years old. He stood 6 foot and weighed 212 pounds. He had a 63-inch reach. He had a record of 43 wins, 2 losses, and 31 knockouts. That's for Joe Frazier. He was 30 years old. He stood 5 foot 11 and a half inches, and he had a 73-inch reach.
Cut off the ring on Ali.
He had 30 wins, 1 loss, and 25 knockouts.
Between the elbows.
Now, these two men met once before. March 8, 1971, New York's Madison Square Garden. It was the fight of the century.
Ali has also said in his pre-fight propaganda that he will not allow himself to languish against the ropes as he did in the first fight. We have a minute to go in round 1.
Let's take a look at this fight and see how it played out. This is their second fight between these two men. Once again, it's for the NABF World Heavyweight Championship belt.
Working on the body and getting in a left to the
Now pay attention to Tony Perez, who's the referee. You're going to see an opportunity where Joe Frazier would be hurt by Muhammad Ali. And the bell didn't ring yet, but Tony Perez would feel that he heard the bell and he would stop the contest.
Note that the
Very controversial decision.
Is Frazier, which was the case in the first
Very
fight.
possibility that Joe Frazier could have been stopped. Let's see how this plays
Again,
out.
with a quick combination, it was a right lead and then the left. So he did use the right. 10 seconds left in the round. The bell for round 2. Both fighters in white trunks. You know them each. You don't need any more identification, though, for any neophytes who might be watching, as Frazier comes right at Ali, trying to do damage immediately. Ali's black trim goes up to the black belt.
Between elbows. Between elbows. Cut him on the top. Cut him on the top.
Good jab by Muhammad Ali. The voice you're hearing in the background
Left jab.
is Bodine and
As
Brown.
he did in the first fight, the very
Muhammad Ali's
technical
corner man.
Frazier had to be sure to expect.
Got the stick to keep it.
One of the brilliant voices
Stick to keep the distance.
and hype men in boxing
Crowd
history.
yells when
Bodine
Joe
and
lands
Brown.
a left hook, and he got in a good one to the belly.
Good time.
Crowd remembers the damage Frazier did in the last fight with that left hook, hitting Muhammad often to the stomach and wearing him down. Ali has been dancing throughout this fight, on his toes steadily. Dancing is one thing, movement is another.
All right.
You can't dance for 12 or 15 rounds, as Ali says. There's no way. Clever movement is what you need.
Bodine and Brown was one of the most brilliant, motivating hype men in all of boxing. And it worked for Ali.
Ali covering.
Woo!
Joe flails
What a beautiful
away.
left hook thrown by Joe,
Good right to the head.
Smoking Joe Frazier.
But the crowd is now, at least those around us, calling for Joe because he continues to pursue and to be the aggressor in the battle. We've got a minute left to go in round 2. It's round 2.
Come on, Joe. Come on.
Referee Perez separates the fighters. Ali continues to move, as you can see. Joe coming at him. Much the same as in the early rounds of the first fight.
Oh, now Frazier's hurt.
That was a good right. Joe was staggered there.
And
Joe
Perez will
stepped
step
up
in.
for the first time in the fight. He was hurt by that right of Ali's.
And this is the controversial
Tony Perez
fight's not over.
separates the fighter, calls for the end of the round, but I didn't hear a bell. Freddie Pacheco takes out Muhammad Ali's mouthpiece, and now referee Perez calls them back to finish the round.
This was detrimental.
Confusing incident,
Frazier
but
was
that's
hurt.
the way it is. The bell for round 2. As you can see, Ali without his mouthpiece. He got in a good right near the end of that round, just before Tony Perez.
It was a beautiful
made
left hook is
mistake.
what it
Now
was.
in slow motion, watch in the early part of the round, Frazier connect with a real good left, and Ali will follow with a good right. Watch closely. There's the left. Now, Ali right back with the right as Frazier dropped his left after delivering it. Now this is close to the end of the round. And watch for the right that I talked about that backed Frazier off and indeed staggered. Ali sets it up with the 2 left jabs.
Okay, it was a right hand by thrown by Muhammad Ali.
Now watch closely.
That is
Joe
correct.
Frazier backing off for the first time
Frazier
in
was
the
hurt.
fight. He
And
was
Tony
hurt.
Perez
No
will step in.
question about it. No, it's not for the heavyweight championship championship of the world. But as I said at the top of the show, curiously, some of the magic of the first fight is here, in this crowd, in its anticipation, and I'm sure all over the country. Quickly, Joe came at Ali, who's in his own corner, and they're flailing away, and just as quickly, Ali scored with a left and a right and a left to the head. How much can Frazier take? Will Ali be able to render the punishment that he did the last time, even though he lost? Since that time, Joe took tremendous punishment. 6 knockdowns from George Foreman, and had trouble even with Joe Bugner over in London. But how much can Ali punch? How much can he hurt at this stage of his career?
Turn him under. There it is. Come on, Joe. That's it. That's it. All night long, Joe. All night long. All night, Joe. All night. All night.
Little less than 2 minutes left in round 3. I'll tell you this, in the first fight, Ali was waving in disdain at Frazier, and he was clowning. He's living up to this point, apart from the quick evidence of the Ali shuffle, by his promise not to clown. The roar from the crowd as Joe connected with only a glancing, a grazing left against Ali's jaw. Such is the nature of Joe's power in that left hook that the crowd will roar every time he throws it.
Get off of that rope. And dead.
Now, if you notice more so in this fight than March 8th, 1971, Muhammad Ali keeps Joe Frazier at a distance.
Showing his disdain for Ali's absence of punching power, as Joe views it.
A lot was taken out of Joe Frazier when he faced George Foreman in Kingston, Jamaica.
It's okay. It's okay.
Hear the crowd yell when Joe threw that left, which missed. I must say, up to this point, Ali has been a master at stopping Joe's left with his gloves.
Joe's movement has slowed down.
Joe again taking the Ali jab. 10 seconds left in the 3rd round.
Oh, good movement from Muhammad Ali.
We'll be going back to round 4 in just a second, but we have some college basketball scores for you now.
Round 4 is underway.
All night long. All night long. All night long.
Drew Brown Bundini is screaming all night long. Clearly at the moment, Ali is dominant. He's scoring with his left, and he's throwing the right more than one might have expected, and frequently landing.
You gotta love Drew Bodine Brown. An amazing motivator for the camp of Ali. He was a factor in that camp.
Scheduled 12 round. 20,748 people have paid a gross of $1,053,688 here at Madison Square Garden tonight. 2 minutes left in the 4th round. Those figures just a reflection of the national interest in this bout.
Why you dance? Speaking why you dance? Did that beat you?
You're going to hear Drew Brown Bundini behind me all night. Frazier trying to strike at Ali while in the corner, but the blows picked off by Ali's gloves. Ali using the jab effectively. Still dancing. Remember, he danced, as he puts it, for the first 4 rounds of the first fight. Always on his toes.
Nobody dancing. Stop on the dime. Keep dancing.
Minute left in round 4. It's too early to tell, but one does have to at least conjure with the notion that Ali is indeed in much better shape than he was for their first match. And up to this point, he certainly looks better than he did in either match against Norton and against Rudy Lubers in Indonesia. Rudy Lubers, you remember him. A little Dutch heavyweight whom Ali never even threw a right at. The end of the round, back in a moment. You're looking at Joe Frazier's corner. Manager Eddie Futch working over him. The only visible damage to Frazier at this point is lodged in the right eye, which is definitely bloodshot. There's been no discernible trickle of blood from the corner of the eye, but it's been the recipient of a goodly number of Ali lefts up to this point. Again, as you see Ali, he's not even sitting down in his corner. Well, he used that tactic against Norton in the second fight.
Here's Bodine in brown.
Bundini next to him that it's the wisest thing in the world. But it is an evidence of confidence if the adversary takes it seriously. Round 5 is underway. Tony Perez is the referee. Then Joe scored.
Good short left hook
2 quick ones
thrown by Joe Frazier.
The chest, and then a third to the right cheek of Ali.
Oh, another left hook thrown by Joe Frazier. Ali dances his way out.
Frazier looked good in that last exchange in the corner. You heard the roar of the crowd, and if you remember the first fight, clearly Frazier started to come on strongly in the 5th round. That was a 15-rounder. This is only a 12-rounder. Watch and see if Ali drops that right after he throws it, because Frazier took great advantage of that in the first fight with his left hook. Frazier contends that Ali cannot keep his hands up, except when he's against the ropes.
Hold him to the traffic cop car. Hold him to the traffic cop car. Go like a butterfly. Let's dance, Tom. Dance. Dance.
A minute 30 in the 5th round. A minute 30 left. You don't want to draw judgments too quickly, but it does seem that Ali is back against the ropes more in this round than he has been in the prior ones. You don't see the movement in Ali in this round to the same degree that you saw in the prior 4. Less than a minute to go in round 5. And there's Ali wrestling against the ropes.
Final. Okay, champ. Okay, champ. All night long it's going to be like that.
Less than 30 seconds in round 5.
All night long.
Less than 10 seconds. The countdown in round 5. There it is. And now the bell for round 6. The action begins. Ali with a flurry, only some of which got through Frazier's gloves.
Get back in there.
He threw about 6 punches, 3 perhaps got through.
Stick while you done. That's it, champ. That's it, boxing to death. That sucker can't box.
Crowd roared as Joe landed a left hook, but in the interim,
Bodine
Ali
said,
landed
box him to
2
death.
lefts and
That
right.
sucker can't box.
Sucker stop on a dime.
Joe's been talking to Ali, and Ali in the meantime got in a good left and a good right.
It's gonna be like that all night. All night.
Joe was actually taunting Ali
Stick center, champ.
and then got belted.
Wait for the trumpet. Wait for the trumpet. Now,
Maybe if no greater action happens in this round, we'll have a look between rounds at that left and right. Because at the moment, Joe, who's taking left after left now, was saying, you can't hurt me. In net effect, you got no punch. But Ali, with 1:30 left in round 6, has scored repeatedly with lefts and rights.
If you
up
see
to this
Muhammad
point
Ali
in the round.
grabs Joe Frazier from behind the neck with his gloves. And Frazier's unable to get himself out of that position. Perez does not warm Ali.
Minute left in round 6.
Now we'll tire you back out over time.
Thus far, a very effective round for Ali. Unlike round 6 in the first fight, when clearly he was beginning to run downhill. Although he did come back in the 9th and 10th in that fight.
See how he grabs him behind the neck? He's not supposed to do that. Joe should be working him on the inside
30
so that doesn't
seconds
happen
left
to
in
him.
the round. A very good round up to this point for Ali. Less than 10 seconds to go in the round. All right, in slow-mo, let's look at that Ali left and right. Now watch. Frazier coming at him. There's the left, there's the right. Perfect combination. One has to wonder about Ali's punch. The boxing skill seems to be there up to this point tonight. One has to wonder what would happen to Frazier if those punchers were Foreman or Frazier type punches. He's getting instructions from Eddie Futch. Now he's getting the jelly over each eye. Actually, Joe's eyes aren't as puffy at this point as they were in the first fight. Just that bloodshotness in the right eye, and maybe that slight cut. Round 7 of a scheduled 12-rounder. Joe scoring with a
Nice left hook by Joe
responding
Frazier.
to it. They expect dynamite out of every left hook that Frazier scores with. Joe again with a left hook and scoring. Joe forcing Ali into Ali's corner. But the crowd now responsive to Frazier's left hook. sensing many of them, and sensing perhaps some, perhaps many, that Joe is beginning to come on, knowing of his knockout ability. Moving down to the midsection to weaken Ali and get him to drop his guard. Ali is being told don't do that by Drew Brown Bundini. He could mean any one of several things. Don't hold, don't stay in the corner. Or he could mean don't wink at the press, as Ali did just a few seconds
good
ago.
left hook by Joe Frazier.
Referee Perez breaking them up. Ali trying to keep distance now and use his weapon, the left.
Another good left hook thrown by Joe Frazier. Ali brilliantly ties him up, shoves him off, and goes start to dance again.
Who said Ali, after landing combinations, should move in and hold to avoid Frazier's counter-punching. Frazier has always been the kind of fighter who likes to let you swing at him and then come back with his blow. And so you saw Ali after that other combination come in and hold.
Oh, good right hand thrown by Muhammad Ali. And Joe Frazier headbutts Muhammad Ali
talk to Ali
in
from
the
time
clinch.
to time in the fight. It's round 7 with 30 seconds left.
Hey, Josh, take it to him.
Perez warning Ali on hitting on the break. Ali still using the left. If the referee and judges saw it that way,
Stay there means 30 seconds left in the round. That's Angelo Dundee, Muhammad Ali's manager / trainer, gives him the cue.
a minute to go in round 11, and you hear Angelo Dundee, perhaps behind me, yelling, stay there, when Ali was in ring center and scoring. Hear him saying, stay there, baby, stay there. Seconds, a little less, now left in the 11th round. One round after this one.
Run out, man. Get on again, down. 15 seconds, go. Run it, champ.
10 seconds left in the round. Ali continuing the score with that jab. Left jab, all night. The end of the round. And Muhammad Ali, of course, Drew Brown Bundini next to him, still exhorting him on. The fighters touch gloves. The referee, Tony Perez, backs off. Frazier swinging wildly, hard, wanting desperately to do damage here. And real damage, a knockout if possible, but he's got to connect. Ali again landing a couple of punches in there. And one thing about Muhammad Ali that I don't think has ever been duly publicized. This man can take a punch. They never talk about that. He's been knocked down and he gets up and he can take a punch.
You got to close the show, Pat. Let's not close the show.
This is the 12th and final round. Looking back on this fight now, while the crowd has had the interest in it that I've described, now I think there's a realization among everybody that this was a 12-round bout between two past champions that was lacking much of the excitement of the prior fight. It's been a boxing contest on Ali's part, and he has scored often with his jab and often in combinations, but quite clearly without power, because he hasn't reddened Ali's face and eyes the way he did in the first fight. And Frazier has shown nothing of what he showed in the first fight. Only a minute left in the fight. And Ali is on his toes.
Ali puts on the show.
Beginning to scream as they realize the countdown continues toward the end of the fight. And perhaps still looking for the one big blow from Joe Frazier that has not manifested itself all night.
Here comes the Ali shuffle.
Ali still raining blows on Frazier's head.
This was a great round between two great fighters. Smoken Joe Frazier and Muhammad Ali.
Fight approaches its end.
Ali will get a shuffle in one more time before the round is over.
7 seconds, 6 seconds. Ali having scored with a left and a right.
Now that'll be it. Great fight between these two men.
It is over. It went the distance.
May I have your attention, please? Here is your decision. The winner by unanimous decision is Muhammad Ali.
Muhammad Ali has won the fight on a unanimous decision. Well, Joe, I don't think you have to apologize to
Scrapbook Boxing Museum of the Forgotten Fisticuffs series. All great fights and all great fighters will never be forgotten on my
You know
channel.
what I mean? I would say I throw more effective punch anyway. So I got no argument about nothing.
Joe, I do have to
100 years of world
question,
championship
and you
fights.
understand what
See you in the next video.
this a melee in the ring. What happens now, Joe? Inevitably,
Go back home and relax for a while. Then we decide.
do you want to fight more, Joe?
I would like to fight again. So we have a chance to discuss it here.
Okay, Joe, I'm not going to bother you anymore at this moment. Good luck to you. Now, Angelo Dundee, the trainer of Muhammad Ali, will be talking with Muhammad in a moment.
Well, Mike's in great shape, was able to offset him. He won the fight. I mean, there was no baloney tonight. I thought he won the first one. So I don't know how to make any baloney about this fight. He won it, Howard.
Did he fight the fight as you two had planned?
It just aired a couple times.